Good morning, class 12 students. We are on the process of completing this chapter, and today is the third session. So, like always, before we proceed with the remaining portion, we'll discuss the portion we covered in the last two videos. So, here it goes. You are aware the story has been taken from the author's autobiography of Men and Mountains. And in this excerpt, he talks about his fear of water and how he finally defeats it with his strong determination and courage. Right? That is why he has, mentioned in the end of the chapter that all we have to fear is fear itself. So, what happened? How did he develop this fear of water, and how was he able to overcome it? Let's find out. So, in two previous video, we came to know when he was a child, when he was 3 or 4 years old, he went to the beach in California with his father, and when he got scared by when he looked those mighty huge waves, and so one of the waves swept over him, and this incident instilled a tiny fear of water in his subconscious mind. And after a few years, when he grew up, when he turned 11 years old, he decided he was eager to learn swimming, and that is why he thought that he would join YMCA swimming pool. YMCA, it is in Yakima. It is a city in US. Right? So he decided that he would go to a swimming pool to learn swimming, and he dropped the idea of going to Yakima River, because Yakima River is very treacherous and a lot of people had drowned there. So that is why, and he was warned by his mother that he should not go to Yakima River. That is why he picked YMCA swimming pool, because it is appropriate and it offered the right opportunity, because at one end it is 9 feet deep and on the other it is 2-3 feet deep, which is very suitable for the child to learn swimming. So he started going to swimming pool. He started copying the people who were there, and then this terrible one more incident, when he has just started to begin and to have a hold over his fear, another terrible accident happened. When he was alone at swimming pool, he was thrown into the 9 feet deep water by a bully, by a boy 18 years old. He was a bully, and he dug him into the 9 feet deep water, and he went straight into the bottom of the swimming pool. He was drowning. The child was drowning, but he did not lose his senses. He was frightened, and on the way down to the bottom, he made a strategy that when his feet would touch the bottom of the swimming pool, he would jump, come to the surface like a cork, lie flat on the surface of water, and would paddle across the edge of the swimming pool. So he tried once, did not happen. He tried twice, but he could not swim across the edge of the swimming pool. He swallowed water, he shrieked, he shouted, he cried for help. Nothing happened. He swallowed water, a yellow tinge water, and the third time, it seemed that his journey was about to end. He was on the verge of death. And now it's time for us to begin the remaining portion for today's session. So here we are. I will first highlight this paragraph for you so that you can actually keep the track of the text. I crossed to oblivion, and the curtain of life fell. Curtain of life fell means his life came to an end, and oblivion means the state of being unconscious, when you don't know what is happening around you. So that's what happened in the third time. The next I remember, I was lying on my stomach beside the pool, vomiting. So I think the child got lucky, not exactly lucky, but after all, he is saved, right? So this paragraph tells us that the third attempt, it seemed to us that he was about to die, and he were you know he there was no hope for him. But the next thing we find that he was actually outside the swimming pool, and he was lying on his stomach, and he was vomiting, he was puking, because he must have swallowed a lot of water. uh, the chap that threw me in was saying, and who is the chap here? The chap means the it means the boy, the bully who threw Douglas into 9 feet deep water. And Douglas heard him saying, "But I was only fooling." And when this bully was asked that how come the child ended up in the 9 feet deep water, he said that he was just playing a prank on him, or he was just fooling him. And somebody said that the kid nearly died. It means somebody said that it was actually, he was about to die. It was a very narrow escape from death. Let's carry him to the locker room. And they took him to the locker room, you find where you keep your clothes in swimming pool, right? And it's a boys locker room. Several hours later, I walked home. I was weak, trembling. And after the second incident, you know uh, he was weak, and he was trembling, he was shivering. You could actually still feel the impact, he could still feel the impact of that terrible misadventure. I shook and cried I when I lay on my bed. And the child was so terribly, even so hurt and panic stricken, that he cried all day. I could not eat. Remember, he could not eat that night because he was so fear stricken. Um, for day for days, a haunting fear was in my heart. The slightest exertion upset me, even if he would work a little bit. Right. So it means he was in a state of shock. He could not come out of it. That is why he could not eat. And even if he tried to do, or if he gets a little bit tired, this fear would come again, and his feet would feel wobbly and shaky, the knees, and sick to my stomach. And he feels that it seems that he is terribly sick. I never went back to the pool. I feared water. I avoided it whenever I could. So after that, in when he was 3 4 years old, he developed this tiny fear. In order to overcome this fear, he decided to learn swimming. But on the contrary, what happened? He This fear, grew bigger. It worsened, right? And since then, he avoided water. A few years later, when I came to know the waters of the Cascades, I wanted to get into them. So what happened now after 11 years, uh, after a long time since this incident happened, he came to know about the water of Cascades. Cascades is a waterfall, and he wanted to get into them. But you're aware that he has this hydrophobia, and he cannot go near the water. So whenever I did, whether I was wading the Titan and the bumping river, or bathing in warm lake of the goat rocks, the terror that had seized me in the pool would come back. So whenever he tried to go near the water, the fear of water would come again, and he would not be able to join it. It would take possession of me completely. It would take possession of him completely. Possession means to own something. You must have seen in movies the spirit, they also possess body. In the same way, his fear possessed him, and he could not enjoy anything. He could not go near the water. His My legs would become paralyzed. And this is usual with him, that whenever he find himself near the water, his legs get paralyzed. And this icy horror, this creepy horror, and he gets the cold feet. And uh, you know this would grab his heart. It means he is not able to enjoy anything. He is not even able to go near the water, and this handicap, and that's how he referred to it as handicap. This made him handicapped. He could not enjoy, because this, this stayed with him for the years. And canoes on main lakes fishing for landlocked salmon. Salmon is a type of fish, so he could not enjoy canoeing. He could not enjoy fishing. Uh, and in New Hampshire, these are the proper nouns. Trout fishing, these are the names of fishes. So he could not enjoy these things. So his fear of water is so overpowering that it ruined his fishing trips, and he could not enjoy canoeing, boating, and swimming. And where in Deschutes and Metolius and in Oregon, these are U.S. cities. Fishing for salmon, I have already told, it is a type of fish. The Columbia at Bumping Lake in the Cascades, wherever I went, the haunting fear of the water followed me. It ruined my fishing trips, deprived me of the joy of canoeing, boating, and swimming. So he could not enjoy any kind of water sports. I used every way I knew to overcome this fear, but it held me firmly in its grip. So the child, William Douglas, he tried so many things in order to get rid of this fear, but it could not. It clutched him. Finally, 1 October, children, please remember the date. 1 October, I decided to get an instructor and learn to swim. So on first 1 October, he decided that he would hire a trainer, an instructor. So I went to a pool and practiced 5 days a week. This is also, you have to remember, he practiced 5 days a week, an hour each day. Each day in 5 days a week. The instructor put a belt around me, a rope attached to the back to the belt went through a pulley that ran on an cable. He held onto the end of the rope, and we went back and forth across the pool, hour after hour, day after day, week after week. On each trip across the pool, a bit of the panic seized me. Seized me means to, it closed on him. So what happened in this paragraph? The child decided that he would, when he could not enjoy his water sport, he decided that he would hire an instructor. So when he hired an instructor, what the instructor did? The instructor put a belt around the Douglas, and this rope, it went through a pulley, and this pulley, it ran on overhead cable. Pulley is an overhead, right? And the instructor caught the one end of the rope, and that's how he made him learn. So what he would do, this way they went back and forth across the pool. So each time when instructor, when he loosens the rope, Douglas was afraid, right? And it took him, I think it let's find out how many days and how many months it took him to, to overcome this fear of water. So one each trip across the pool, a bit of the panic seized me. So whenever this practice was, whenever it was being performed, every time the fear came, right? Each time the instructor relaxed his hold on the rope and I went under, some of the old terror returned. So the very moment when he goes into the water, the fear comes, his legs, they freeze, right? So it was 3 months before the tensions began to slack means reduce. So it actually took him 3 months, and after 3 months, his fear started reducing. Then he taught me to put my face underwater, exhale, and to raise my nose and inhale. And then he taught him how to inhale and exhale, right? This was taught. I repeated this exercise. So he repeated this exercise of inhaling, exhaling, hundreds of times, and bit by bit and piece by piece, I shed part of the panic that seized me, and he was able to shed. He was able to throw the fear when my head went underwater, right? So he is now becoming a swimmer. And next, he held me at the side of the pool, had me kick with my legs. For weeks, I did just that. And this is actually a very good exercise. If you are a beginner, you can actually learn swimming. What you need to do is you just need to, a hole at the side of the pool, and what you need to do, you need to kick with your legs. So that's how you can learn, and that is what he was made to do. For weeks he tried that. So children, you have to remember everything that is being done by the instructor in order to make him a good swimmer, and in order to put an end to his fear, hydrophobia. At first my legs refused to work, but they gradually relaxed, and finally I could command them, because this was the problem. Whenever he find himself near the water, his legs get paralyzed. So when he started practicing this, what happened, his legs started working in the water. So thus piece by piece he built a swimmer, and when he had perfected each piece, he put them together into an integrated whole. So what happened, all these pieces, what are the pieces? To how to inhale and exhale, right? How to paddle his feet, and how to remain in the water. When all these pieces were put together, what happened, that the instructor job was finished. So it means in April he said to Douglas that now the Douglas can swim, and he dive off, and he swim the length of the pool, crawl stroke. So in April, when he announced that now he can swim, he tried, he swam across the length and breadth of the swimming pool. He tried crawl stroke, right? And now it was time for the instructor to bid him goodbye. But I was not finished. But Douglas, he was not finished, because he was still not sure, or maybe he wanted to test himself. I still wondered if I would be terror stricken when I was alone in the pool, because because before he was with instructor, right? But now instructor has left, so now he wants to try himself whether he will be able to do it with in the absence of his instructor or not. So he tried it, and he swam the length up and down, and tiny vestiges. What is tiny vestiges? It is actually the tiny amount of the fear. It's Or you can say the traces. That vestiges means the traces, tiny traces of the old fear. It would return, but I could frown and say to the terror. Frown means this is a kind of expression that he gave to his fear, that if you try to scare me, well, here is to you. Look, and off I would go for another length of the pool. So he talked to his fear, he challenged him, and then he again swam the length of the pool. So this went on, and but I was still not satisfied. But the child was still not satisfied, because uh, he wanted something, he wanted more. So in the month of July, uh, he what did he do? I was not sure that all terror had left, so I went to Lake Wentworth in New Hampshire. So he decided that now he would try himself in the Lake Wentworth in New Hampshire, and he dived off a dock at Triggs Island and swam 2 miles across the lake to Stamp Acton Island. So he tried his whaler in the lake also, and he succeeded, I believe. And I swam the crawl, breaststroke, side stroke, and backstroke. These are all the different style a swimmer can use in order to swim. So only once did the terror return, and when he was swimming in the river, this fear, it returned. And when did it return? When it returned when he was in the middle of the lake. When he was in the middle of the lake, so he put his face. So I put my face under and saw nothing but bottomless water. The old sensation returned in miniature. Miniature means which is a small size of something, right? So he put his in the middle. When he was in the middle of the lake, his fear returned. He put his face under the water, and he could see nothing but the bottomless water. And this old sensation returned. That what sensation that he felt when this terrible accident took place in the swimming pool. And this miniature of fear returned, but he laughed. He did not lose, he did not give up. He challenged, and he talked to his fear once again. He told him that, Mr. Terror, what do you think you can do to me? It fled, and I swam on. and that's how he challenged his fear in the middle of the river, and it fled means it ran away. His fear ran away and he was able to swim. So yes, I think we should finish this chapter because I think we are left with a very uh, you know less portion. Yes, yet I had residual doubts. At my first opportunity, I hurried west, went up the Titan to its Conrad Meadows, up the Conrad Creek Trail to Mead Glacier, and camped in the high meadow by the side of Warm Lake. The next morning, I stripped, dived into the lake, and swam across to the other shore and back, just as Doug Corporon uses to do. I shouted with joy, and Gilbert Peak returned the echo. I had conquered my fear of water. So this in this paragraph, actually, what is highlighted here is that uh, he tried all faces. He did not leave any stone unturned because he wanted to. He doesn't just want to learn swimming or put an end to his fear. He actually want to master it. So because when he still had some doubt, he hurried towards the western direction. He went up the Titan, reached Conrad Meadows. He walked up the Conrad Creek trails to Meadow Glacier. He camped there, and next morning he wore the costume, his swimming costume, and he dived into the lake and he swam across to the other end, and and then he returned just like the famous American personality Doug Corporon used to do, right? So William shouted with a joy. This was his, joy because he has actually conquered his fear, and he shouted with joy as he had overcame his fear. And you could actually hear the echo because he is, at Gilbert Peak. So it resonated. His sound, his joy resonated, and finally he had overcome his fear. The experience had a deep meaning for me, as only those who have known stark terror and conquered it can appreciate. And the people who have actually had this fear and they were able to, overcome it, only those person can understand what, and appreciate what William Douglas have done. There is terror only in the fear of death, and he says that there is only terror in the fear of death. When you fear, and Roosevelt knew there is a terror only in the fear of death, as Roosevelt knew when he said, "All we have to fear is fear itself." So it is quoted here, and it is said by Roosevelt. The president of America. Roosevelt is president of America. He's one of the presidents of America, and he quoted his word that all we have to fear is fear itself, right? And because I had experienced both sensation of dying. When did he experience this? When he was in the swimming pool. And the terror that fear it came can produce the will to live somehow grew in intensity. At last I felt released, free to walk the trails and climb the peaks, and to brush aside fear. So what he is what he meant, that as William, he experienced death, the fear of death, right? But his desire to live grew immensely, and he felt released from fear. He was able to walk freely and fearlessly. So I think that's all we have in this chapter. I think we will have one more session. In the last session, we will discuss the summary of the chapter, and what we will do, we're going to discuss the question answers and the summary, right? So you all have to remember, the message is, at last, when he decided to confront the fear, with a view of getting rid of it, he plunged into water forcefully and suddenly, and his fear was completely gone. It means what he's trying to say, that you need to accept the situation, whatever it is. Even if you are afraid or frightened, you need to embrace it. That's the only way you can find a solution to it. Understand? So that's all for today, everyone. Thank you.